My last video did much better than expected, so to all the new people here, welcome. I'm Nesta, I'm 18 years old, and today I'm taking out our Sadler 26 on her longest voyage yet, sailing 60 nautical miles across the south coast of England. This will also be my longest passage as skipper. I've got my brother with me, but ultimately all decisions and responsibilities are mine. In April, I want to attempt a circumnavigation of Britain, but before my parents approve of my great idea, I need to prove to them that I can handle challenges at sea. And on this trip, there were plenty. It's looking pretty light this morning. There's definitely not a lot of wind, but some. There's also still a thunderstorm going on.
As very lively thunderstorms start to move up through the channel and arrive into the southeast of England, bringing lightning, hail, gusty winds, but of greatest concern, very heavy rainfall.
And we're kind of relying on the weather forecast to hope that we've sort of avoided it. We may see it when we're out there. If we didn't have such a strict schedule with St Albans Head, then I would definitely kill the engine and just sail. But basically there's a big tidal race right on the headland that you can see over there. So we've got to time that right at slack water, come in really close, only sort of 50 meters from the shore. Otherwise we're going to get caught in a big race, and after my experience with the Needles, I definitely don't want to do that again. Right, so we've lost connection to the drone, we can't see anything, it's just black on the screen, but luckily we could just about spot it as we were filming Tidal door, so we should be able to return it, but that's not ideal. Right. I somehow managed to get the drone back to the boat, but it chose that moment to have a complete meltdown, and all the controls inverted themselves. I don't even know how that happened, but somehow I caught it, but then I couldn't turn it off either, so it was all a pretty unsuccessful first drone flight. Alright, so we are now pretty much completely becalmed. There's not even a hint of wind. Hopefully this is just the transition from the sort of northeasterly wind which we were having to what it's meant to be, which is the southwest westerly wind. Forecast still saying that it's going to build. It's now about 10 o'clock, so the tide's just turning in our favour, and loads of jellyfish. Whoa, look at all the jellies. Oh, look. That's just death. Look. Alright, so we are finally just approaching St Albans Head. This is the big tidal race which we had to time well, and it looks like we have. There are no big waves. There's just a bit of sort of disturbance on the water, and up on the top there you can see a sort of lookout sort of office. There's a firing range here, so you've got to make sure that you time it well. So as well as a strong tidal race, there's also the risk of getting shot down. But luckily they're not firing today. It's just super choppy water, but nothing serious. That's made. That's made. fine. This is so nice, having the Spinnaker up and the sun out, doing 6 knots, it's just so good.
And Lester, please, you know, keep quite far out from St Catherine's, yeah?
I know, I'm going to have a look at the charts because there is a bit of race.
Yeah, you really don't want to get caught in that race. So what is the timing of that race? Can we just talk about that, please?
I mean, the time that we're going to arrive, okay, so we say it's going to be about 5 to 6 hours, so that will be 7. I need to arrive kind of at 6:30 would be ideal.
So, yeah, it now says gusting 25, 23, 25.
Okay, nice, so that's fine. Right, so we have a problem with this line pulling on the lifelines and on the stanchions really tightly. So I'm going to have to tie something here to hold it and then loosen this off and put it on the inside of the shrouds. Okay, there. That's fine. Yeah, so now you need to pull this out all the way from here. For those wondering what knot I've used, it's a rolling hitch. And then that's back to how I wanted it to be. Nice. And now we can bring it round again. Right, so we're just talking about dropping the Spinnaker because the wind has picked up, but not only that, it's shifting more and more south, and so we can't point to our course, so I'm just going to wait for him to make the pasta and then we're going to drop it. It's a lot of fun though. We're doing 6.5, 7 knots. That is with a knot of tide, but still for a small boat that's pretty good. Alright, so we're getting ready to drop because, well, the forecast says there's going to be more wind, and these tall clouds also are a sign that there's going to be more wind, and that's coming in pretty quick. So the plan is we're going to head downwind. I'm going to be at the back, my brother's going to be up on front, pulling everything he can into the bag. You go up forward. Okay, and then Will grab the clue, bottom here. Hang on, wait. Okay, and start pulling. And you're just shoving it all into the bag. Nice. So there we go, we got the Spinnaker down without any real problems. Actually went very smoothly, so I'm really happy we got the Spinnaker up and down, and it really helped us a lot. It was a good decision. We've now got sort of 15 knots, and now we can actually head to our course. Now we're coming sort of past the Needles, and then you can just see St Catherine's right on the end. Wait as fast as we can. I just got to make this a lot tighter. Let me just think. Just head downwind, like quite far.
Okay, you can head up. Make sure you keep pointing to the island. 8 knots.
Nice, that is cooking. Is it heavy on the helm or is it right? Just make sure you keep pointing to the island. 8 knots. Keep pointing down, keep pointing down. The second you're pointing, it'll be easier to steer. All right, so we've got the cruising chute up and we're flying at 8 knots. We're breaking all of the speed records for this boat. We do have about a knot and a half of tide with us, but no, that was definitely a good call. When the boat gets up to its whole speed, it does this sort of hum, which makes it a lot more exciting. I had a look in the almanac for any information about the tidal races at St. Catherine's. I also had a look in the chart, but it's not very detailed about exactly where they are. So I'm just going to use my binoculars, see if I can see anything, any white water or anything, in which case we'll go around it. Okay, I can definitely see some white water and some big waves actually. Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a race going on.
Did you want to go downwind?
Yeah, head downwind a bit more, just stick it on the auto, but not be careful with diving, just there, that's good. Right, so the plan's going to be to drop the cruising chute, put the genoa up, that just gives a bit more options, a bit more stability, a bit more control.
Okay, you can start dropping the halyards.
Yeah.
Alright, nice.
Right, so we're slightly regretting our decision to drop the chute because there's really nothing.
It's a bit stuck on the phone.
It's probably at the top. It'll be at the top.
There we go. Yeah.
As we came past St. Catherine's, our course changed, forcing us to jibe the Spinnaker.
We unfurl it.
Let it off on this side.
Look at this side.
Let it off slowly on this side.
Yeah.
Will, steer, steer. Okay. Let off the downwind. Sorry.
It's alright.
You've got to get a couple of turns on that line.
The green line.
You've got to get a couple turns on the wind. You're not going to hold that.
Yeah. What up?
Will. Stick. Okay. Here, down.
Just bring it down.
You're dealing with a spinnaker, always have it around the waist. You can't force it close on. Okay.
That was lovely.
How much wind do we have on the thing?
12 knots.
Yeah, okay. In hindsight, I should have got my brother to do the spinnaker pole, and I should have been at the back helming and flying the spinnaker. For some reason I thought that the pole was probably the harder job, when actually it's not at all. And a bit of sort of background, my brother, that was the first time he'd actually been on a sort of yacht. He'd only done dinghy sailing before, so he'd never even used or seen a symmetric spinnaker. And I wouldn't have even attempted the jibe with him unless it was light airs, which it was at the beginning. But then at the end you hear me ask him what the wind speed is, and he tells me 12 knots, but our anemometer's off by sort of 5 knots, so actually 17 knots of wind. And basically what happened was he only had, I think, one turn, or even at the end, no turns on the winch. He was just holding the spinnaker sheet, obviously dangerous thing to do. And then he sort of lost the sheet. So I was up at the bow on the mast, looking up, just seeing the spinnaker flying, straight from the top of our mast. I thought it was going to go much worse than it did. I thought he lost the sheet completely. And once we got into the port, there was a fishing boat which was out there, which came past and saw us. So they were just wondering what the hell was going on, because they just saw our boat with this huge spinnaker just flying out from the top of the mast. We got very, very lucky to get it down without any rips or tears. But yeah, definitely a learning lesson for me as skipper.
Might be easier to helm. We'll try to bring it back around. Sense it picking up a little bit. Yeah.
So now we're flying the cruising chute, wing on wing, in probably what is 50 knots of wind, and it's fair to say we're probably a bit overpowered. This is definitely sort of on the limit, but we are making really good progress. So currently it feels worth it, and the wind's not building. We've been watching that, but the second it does, we're going to drop it. But definitely we'll feel a bit kind of nervous, especially when the gusts come. There's a sort of few degrees, probably a 5-degree margin which you can stay in. Otherwise either the main's going to jibe or the cruising chute's going to collapse.
Head down more.
Right, that very nearly caught us off guard. In fact, it did catch us off guard. So we got the cruising chute down very, very quickly. This is obviously the 20 gusting 30 that we'd been waiting for. It arrived very, very quickly. You can see lots of white horses, must be 4 to 5, gusting 6. So that was a bit of a panic to get the cruising chute down. But we're so close now, so close, just coming on up to Bembridge Ledge. Yeah, that was quite surprising. I just sort of felt a strong gust of wind. I looked behind me, see all the white horses, all the wind, and thought, right, yeah, let's get this down quickly.
Pretty much for the rest of the journey, my brother and I were playing Highway to Hell, Freebird, Back in Black. Unfortunately, I can't play any of that here, but I found this, which is suspiciously close to Have a Drink on Me.
Right, so that is it. We have pretty much made it the 60 nautical miles all the way around the back of the island to Bembridge. We didn't think that we'd get there today. We thought we'd be spending the night. It only took us 12.5 hours, which is pretty good for such a small boat. It's been such a good trip because there's been so much sailing that's happened. We've put the Spinnaker up and down, I think, 4 times. We tried to drive it once, that didn't go very well. But a lot of sail changes, a lot of different points of sail, lots of sailing, really, really just enjoyable.